Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at a really massive structural change happening in retail. Analysts are actually calling it the grocery reset.
Yeah,
And, this isn't just about prices going up. It seems to be more fundamental, like how we shop, what stores even decide to stock, and maybe even what we eat. We're going to dive deep into some recent analysis looking at retail startups and AI trends. And it really singles out two huge pressures hitting grocers, like at the exact same time. They call them the twin
that's
challenges.
exactly right.
Yeah.
For years, the grocery business was, well, pretty predictable. You could rely on historical data, static forecasts. Our goal today is to unpack how these two forces, you've got the ongoing pressure from inflation and these sudden, really disruptive changes from GLP-1 medications, things like Ozempic, how they're forcing the industry to adapt and adapt faster than we've ever seen before.
Right. And the way they're adapting, it's not just about, getting better spreadsheets or something. The sources we looked at point to a whole new approach, something involving agentic AI.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe before we go further, let's just clarify that term. Agentic AI. Are we talking about the usual recommendation engines we see online, or is this different?
Yeah, it's structurally different, fundamentally new, really. Agentic AI, it's intelligence that can act autonomously towards a complex goal. It's not just reacting passively to data inputs. So in this context, it's about building this intelligent infrastructure, something that can anticipate and actually adapt to all this volatility kind of on its own. And this whole reset, this adaptation, it seems to be driven by tech focusing on two main things: getting hyperlocal agility to manage inventory and healthware personalization to serve the customer better.
Okay, got it. So let's dig into those pressures themselves. The twin challenges reshaping the grocery basket, as you called them. Challenge number one, inflation. I mean, we've all been feeling that, right? But the analysis makes it clear this isn't just a blip, it's enduring.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not just a temporary spike anymore. It has fundamentally changed how consumers think and behave.
Mm.
We're seeing people making trade-offs every time they shop. Just look at private label brands, store brands. Their market share keeps climbing because people are actively looking for value, maybe more than brand loyalty right now.
And that price sensitivity, I assume that flows right back to the retailers, how they manage their stock.
It does, yeah. The analysis really highlights a major shift in inventory strategy. The pressure on margins is just so intense now. That old retail idea of just in case inventory, stocking extra just so you don't run out, that's actually a financial risk now. Every single percentage point matters. So the industry is being forced towards this almost ruthless just enough precision. Every wasted item, every misplaced product. It's a disaster when margins are razor thin.
Okay, so that need for just enough precision, that kind of sets the stage perfectly for the second challenge, which sounds way less predictable, more about behavior change, the GLP-1 medications. This is really rewiring consumption, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and I think it's critical to see this as a permanent shift. It's not temporary, it's structural. We're talking potentially millions of consumers significantly cutting their calorie intake. And crucially, they're becoming incredibly intentional about the calories they do consume. So they're not just eating less volume, they're demanding higher quality, more specific nutritional benefits for the food they do buy.
So retailers must be seeing changes in what people are actually buying then, what categories are affected.
Definitely. The data is already showing clear shifts away from, say, certain snack categories, sugary drinks, even those big ready-to-eat meals. The key takeaway here, I think, for you listening is that grocers have to get smarter, faster, and much more local to keep up with these changing behaviors. The old ways of planning, the centralized models, they just can't handle this level of simultaneous pressure.
Okay, so if volatility is the core problem driven by both cost and these changing consumer needs, how does the tech actually help pivot away from that old, slow model? This seems to lead us right into that first solution pillar you mentioned, hyper-local agility.
Exactly. And this is where agentic AI really comes into its own, traditional forecasting models. They're kind of useless when customer behavior is changing week by week, almost day by day. They can tell you what happened last Christmas, sure, but they can't predict how, say, a sudden local flu outbreak combined with these new health trends might affect demand for specific high-protein snacks next Tuesday in one particular neighborhood.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly complex to manage in real time. So are grocers just hiring huge teams of analysts, or is this where those hyper-local intelligence startups come in?
It's definitely the latter. These startups are essentially building what the analysis calls the hyperlocal intelligence stack. Let's maybe touch on four key players mentioned, starting with Tembi.
Okay, Tembi, what's their specific angle? Adaptive planning.
Yeah, Tembi aims to make the planning system proactive, not reactive. It uses its agentic AI to connect the retailer's own internal data sales, inventory, with really critical external signals. Things like local events, weather forecasts, economic indicators, even tracking local health trends. And it does this using natural language interfaces. So the result is their AI agent can spot and surface potential demand shifts much, much earlier than a human analyst poring over spreadsheets could.
Wow, okay, so it makes the system predictive, almost conversational. And then there's Nimble. Their focus is more on the real-time market picture.
Exactly. Nimble deploys what they call autonomous data acquisition agents. You can think of them like AI scouts, constantly out there monitoring the competitive landscape. They're collecting competitor pricing, analyzing local product assortments across different areas, all in real time. This gives grocers a live, actionable view of what's happening right now, locally. So their assortment matches actual local demand, not some national average from last month.
Okay, so you know what to buy. But managing what you already have in the system, especially with that just enough pressure, that sounds critical too. Is that where Yadistry fits in?
Yes, Yadistry tackles that waste and optimization problem head-on, which, as we said, is crucial because of the inflation pressure on margins. They use AI-driven recommendations to help retailers effectively redistribute overstocked products between different store locations. This is huge for the bottom line. It optimizes sell-through, meaning fewer markdowns, and critically, less food waste ending up in the bin.
So potentially if I go into my local store, an item I see might have been moved there because it was overstocked somewhere else nearby, thanks to Udastry's AI.
Precisely. It's making the whole supply chain much more dynamic and responsive. And then the last piece of this hyperlocal stack mentioned is OmniStream. They bring agentic AI right into the store planning process itself.
OmniStreams, they deal with planograms, right? For listeners who aren't in retail, those are like the detailed shelf maps, the store layout plans.
Correct. OmniStream allows store planners to actually interact conversationally with these planograms and the related performance data. Imagine asking the system, like, what if I double the space for protein bars in store number 12 and getting an immediate data-backed answer showing potential impact? It allows for these dynamic tweaks and what-if scenarios almost instantly, delivering really fine-grained hyperlocal precision right down to the individual shelf.
That stack, Tembi, Nimble, Widestray, OmniStream, it sounds incredibly powerful, replacing slow reactions with immediate adaptation. But I do wonder, does this just add another complex, maybe expensive layer of tech for grocers, or does it actually simplify things by automating some of these really hard decisions?
Yeah, that's always the key question with new tech, isn't it? The analysis suggests that because these tools are agentic, they actually aim to simplify the process for the human user. So instead of drowning in data, the human planner manages exceptions, the high-level strategy, while the AI handles the granular real-time adjustments. Think about managing inventory during, say, a sudden flash flood hitting one part of a city while another part is fine. This tech is designed to handle that kind of local complexity automatically. It listens and learns faster than any human team possibly could.
That makes sense. And it sets us up perfectly for the second big solution pillar, health-aware personalization. Because if the inventory side gets agile, how do grocers stay relevant, maybe even grow share, with customers who are, well, deliberately buying less food overall? It's about driving basket relevance, right? Even if volume drops.
Exactly. If your average customer is potentially eating, say, 30% fewer calories, you need to be 30% more relevant to their specific needs just to maintain your share of their wallet. This means a fundamental shift in category strategy. You have to lean into wellness, into discovery, into really deep personalization. This is where that convergence of food and medicine really starts to accelerate.
Okay, so let's look at the second group of startups mentioned, the ones focused on this personalization. Starting with Cruisin', a personalized nutrition companion.
Right. Cuisin uses AI to offer very personalized meal plans and product recommendations. It's based on individual health goals, dietary needs, even life stage. And specifically for GLP-1 users, the analysis notes Cuisin curates things like smaller, nutrient-dense portions, options high in protein to help maintain muscle mass, and even suggests mindful, smaller indulgences. It's about making sure the items a person does choose to buy are exactly right for them, keeping that basket relevant and valuable.
And then actually finding those specific items in a sea of products, that's where Sifter comes in.
Yeah, Sifter focuses on what they call attribute-based discovery. It lets shoppers instantly filter products by very specific criteria: dietary needs, allergens, complex health goals like low FODM or heart healthy. The sources point out that GLP-1 users are becoming much more label conscious, really scrutinizing ingredients and nutritional info. Sifter basically turns navigating the store or website, which can be frustrating, into more of a guided wellness experience. helps the right products find the right shopper.
That really speaks to intentionality. And speaking of intent, Harmonia seems to go deeper than just standard tags, capturing newer trends.
That's right. Harmonia uses semantic intelligence. It's about understanding the context and meaning behind product descriptions, not just matching keywords. So they move beyond basic tags like organic or gluten-free to identify and categorize products based on emerging health attributes. They help retailers spot these micro-trends like maybe a sudden interest in nutrient-dense mini-meals or specific types of fiber for gut health, often before these trends are even widely named or defined. This lets retailers reshape categories around what consumers are actually looking for now.
That seems vital for keeping up with something moving as fast as the GLP-1 trend. And finally, Healthy sounds like it really connects personal health tracking directly to grocery shopping.
Yeah, Healthy aims to bridge that gap between, say, clinical health data or wellness app data and actual retail choices. It empowers shoppers to maybe track their own wellness metrics, blood sugar, activity levels, whatever it might be, and then connects those personal insights directly to relevant product recommendations and grocery lists. So it helps create a truly personalized, health-aware assortment that can actually evolve as the customer's health journey progresses. It gives retailers a way to compete as, those lines between the pharmacy and the grocery aisle get blurrier and blurrier.
Okay, so this personalization stack, Cusin, Sifter, Harmonia, Healthy, it's really about designing for that shopper who is, as you said, eating differently, not just less.
Precisely. They help grocers serve this new wave of shoppers who expect the store to actively support their wellness journey, making every calorie count both nutritionally and, given inflation, financially too.
This has been really fascinating, a deep look into where this industry is heading. Let's try to synthesize this as we wrap up. We started with these two huge pressures. Inflation, demanding that ruthless efficiency, and GLP-1 meds, demanding this profound adaptation to new behaviors.
Right, and we found the response, largely powered by agentic AI, falling into two camps. Hyperlocal agility, needed to manage inventory volatility at a really granular level, and health-aware personalization, needed to stay relevant with a fundamentally changing consumer.
The sources seem clear. The future of grocery is, well, agentic, it's adaptive, and it's deeply attuned to the individual shopper. This isn't just like a software update. It feels like a fundamental rewiring of the whole relationship between the store and the person buying the food.
And that raises, I think, a really important question for you, our listener, to maybe reflect on. If agentic AI is now connecting things like your personal health trends or the local weather forecast directly to what's on the grocery shelf, what does that level of intelligent infrastructure really mean for the definition of a consumer packaged good? And just how far will this personalized merger of food and medicine actually go in the next, say, 5 years? It's worth thinking about how your own habits, your own changing needs are actually driving this huge wave of AI investment.
Something to definitely chew on next time you're browsing the aisles. Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.